Hey there, guys. Justice Khan over here. Now I know that it has been a while since I last did a video, but I just thought I'd go ahead and start up something a little bit new, something a little bit interesting. Now I actually remember or watching a set of weapon guide videos, not only from XboxAhoy, but also from that. But also that when DarthVeda did them for the Battlefield franchise, so I figured that I just try and do something a little bit of my own. So today I've decided to do a little bit of a guide about some of the weapons and some of the weapons from Ghost Recon Wildlands, and and so what better way to do that than with the current weapon that I currently have active in my hand right now, which is the H&K UMP45. Which is the H&K UMP45, which just so happens to become the bigger brother of the famous H&K MP5 submachine gun. With that, of course, being said, let me go ahead and just pull up the stats that's about the UMP45. so, so, as you can see, the UMP45 does have some great favorable stats. And it does actually pack up. It actually does pack a little bit, some extra damage. It does provide a little bit some good damage. but to help keep things fair, we're gonna keep sorry, starting with my words. To help keep things a bit more fair, to help keep things a little bit more fair and accurate, I'm going to be reviewing in the weapons of their base stats, which means no attachments at all whatsoever, ever. So, with that there being said, let me go ahead and breaking down some of the stats. So, as a 45 caliber submachine gun, it does favor a little bit more damage. Its accuracy is quite well impressive, and it does favor some really good handling traits. Now, of course, as a submachine gun, it does not boast good range, so it is a bit more effective in close quarters. But it can still reach out a little bit further than other submachine guns, such as the MP5, the P90, or the 6R MPX. Now those weapons, of course, that I will of course review whenever I unlock them and find them. now in terms of rate of fire, it does have favorable rate of fire. Now, and from my understanding, and after using the UMP45 for a while now, the H&K UMP45 has really good favorable rate of fire, going the rate of somewhere between 600 to 650 rounds per minute. Okay? But that of course was from my experience of it. I am not a licensed gun specialist by any means. Now, its noise reduction is a little bit. It is in the middle of the road. As it is. But if we add in a suppressor, it'll take that noise reduction into its maximum stat, allowing it to conceal your position and make much more favor sizable kills, but with a little bit of sacrifice in terms of handling and damage until you acquire the advanced suppressors skill. So on that way, when you do equip a suppressor to your weapon, the only thing it will sacrifice is handling, but its damage will be a flat line. It will be flat line the same as if though you don't have the suppressor on there in the first place. And so, but with that there, of course, being said, but while I am on the subject, allow me to go ahead and go into detail about the real life UMP45 submachine gun, courtesy of Wikipedia. The H&K UMP, or Universelle Maschinenpistole, German for Universal Machine Pistol, is a high-caliber submachine gun developed and manufactured by the German-based weapons manufacturing company Heckler & Koch, or H&K for short. Heckler & Koch developed the UMP as a much more lighter and cheaper successor to its little brother, the MP5, but they both remain in top production. The UMP has been adopted for use by various countries, including Brazil, Canada, and several members of the United States, or the United States in general. A smaller number of UMPs chambered in 45 ACP were officially purchased by the 5th Special Forces Group and the United States Army Special Forces in general, with some of the weapons seeing limited service in the early years of the Iraqi insurgency, making them among the small number of submachine guns deployed by the U.S. military in recent conflicts. The H&K UMP, the UMP platform, started on the service in the year 2000, which was 23 years ago, and surprisingly, believe it or not, it is still being present and in use today. Hey, with the stock folded, it minimizes the length to 17.7 inches or 450 millimeters, but when fully extended, it can reach the length of 690 millimeters or 27.2 inches. Its barrel length can maximize at 200 millimeters, which is roughly 8 inches. But the UMP45 is not the only submachine gun that it has. But even though it is the most popular, it does have two other variants, which is the UMP40 chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson, and its smaller, lighter brother, which is the UMP9, which fires the 9x19 millimeter parabellum. Its real-life counterpart has the maximum rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute in it. But one thing, of course, to keep in mind is that its firing range. If you're using the UMP9, it will reach a maximum effective range of 100 meters. With its 45 ACP, only roughly 65 meters. So anyways, with that being said, let us go ahead, find us a good place is to test the weapons. Let me touch down here. There we go. And I do apologize, of course, if the screen here is green, but it's only because it is currently nighttime in game, and well, it makes it a little bit difficult to see with that. Anyways, with that being said, let me go ahead and bring up to you the sound that it makes, its controllability, and some of the other stats. one of the key characteristics of the UMP45 is that it has a 25 round straight box magazine. So now it is 5 rounds less. It is 5 rounds less than the regular MP5 submachine gun, but it trades at slightly smaller capacity for greater power. Despite the sacrifice of rate of fire and range. So now, so as we can see, at first it does straight up, but then it wobbles a little bit to the right, but then when swinging on to the left and swinging right back. But thankfully, however, though, the recoil is easier to maintain if you hold it downward. If you hold it somewhat downward and in an omnidirectional pattern to try and maintain it. Which is a good way to take down on a few targets at a close enough range. But if you're trying to go on the targets at a distance, but still want to maintain that fire, you want to fire somewhere between 3, 4, or 5 round bursts. It also, of course, does have the option, like most weapons in the game, to produce, of course, semi-automatic fire, which is a really good way to take down targets at a much farther distance. But one thing to keep in mind, though, is that like many other submachine guns in game, it is much more effective at a closer range. It's not really best fit for medium or long range combat. Now, when we attach the suppressor, you can see there is still a little bit of some audible noise, but it won't be as intense as without it. Now I have done a little bit of a testing into some of the conflicts and so situations where I had to go up against armored vehicles or armored helicopters in general. But one of the big major characteristics that I have found out is that it is very effective against. It is much more. Sorry. It is effective against the vehicles. Why? It is primarily due to its incredible penetration and damage against vehicles. But if you improve the vehicular destruction and skill, it can further improve your damage, which to me personally, I think will make a really good, which will make a very, very big difference. So, with that being said, allow me to provide in the pros and the cons of the UMP45. First, the pros, or the good things about the UMP45. Pro number 1, it has outstanding stopping power. Despite being a submachine gun and chambered in the 45 ACP, it still delivers plenty of punching power, especially whenever it is rightfully needed for any kind of situation. And it still maintains that power either with or without a suppressor being equipped. Another key characteristic another key characteristic about it is its handling. Now sure, the recoil can be a little bit difficult to handle with at times, especially at a farther distance. But if you get a little bit of practice with it, you won't notice much. You won't suffer a major drawback when using the UMP45. It also maintains a really good amount. It also maintains a steady rate of fire to help control it better. So that there is another good pro in my case. Is with the UMP45, and that is its controllability. It is able to maintain a steady control, either firing in bursts or fully automatic. So, with that there being said, why don't we go ahead and just take a look at the cons, or the not so good things about the UMP45. The key major problem about the UMP45 is that small magazine. Because it only holds 25 rounds in its magazine, that can cause some problems, especially in a drawn-out firefight. It can, of course, cause some problems in a drawn-out firefight. So one thing to remember and keep in mind, is that you're not going to have a whole lot of ammunition with you, especially since the UMP45 only carries 25 rounds. And from my experience of previous playthroughs, the UMP45 tops the list of having in the smallest magazine capacity in game. And sadly, however, though, since there aren't any attachments as to use with the UMP45 to extend it, well, buddy, my friend, well then the only advice I would have for you is this: pace your shots and pace your shots and pick them carefully. Pace your shots and pick them on carefully. You do, because the last thing you want to end up being in is some trigger-happy maniac that gets trigger-happy and before you could even turn yourself around, and start singing that lovely song again, my friend, and you are going to end up in a very tricky situation, which is not going to be good. Another key drawback that I witnessed is that it does have some decent penetrating power, but only at a close range. It only has good, effective penetration power at a close range. If you're trying to get to it and from a distance, well, buddy, you are gonna have a very hard time with getting anything done. So before we close this out and give my final thoughts, allow me to go ahead and guys, and preview what parts I think would be best suited for the UMP45. And obviously, now of course, for personal preference, you can either go with the extended stock or the folded butt stock. But me personally, I prefer the extended butt stock because it does provide a little more stability and therefore will improve your accuracy. Now in terms of the scope, if you are a professional or user with the UMP45, you can stick with the regular sights. But if you are a first timer, there really is no need to go anything big. There's no need for you to go anything big. Instead, you can use either panoramic or the Comp M4 sight. Right. The panoramic holographic sight, right? It really is a really good sight for you to use. If you are not used to using in the iron sights of other weapons, and the Comp M4 sight, is a really nice, good choice as well. No, because again, it does provide you a bit more of a clear sight, but it does give you a little bit of a zoom advantage, which in turn gives you a little bit more or better accuracy and a bit more better range to the small cost of handling. But of course for me, since I've had some practice with the UMP45, I've actually grown a bit more comfortable with the use of the stock iron sights. As for trigger, however, though, you really don't get any other option. Full auto and semi-auto is all you're going to get. And as I've mentioned before, it's stuck with the default 25-round magazine, so you can't do anything to prolong it. Now, as for rail covers, however, though, if you haven't yet, well then, and the regular vertical foregrip is a really good way. Sometimes just the standard vertical grip is all you really need. Otherwise, if you want to, you can go either with the angled foregrip or AFG, which can be found over in Barabechos, or you can go with other grips as well. But one thing to keep in mind, though, it's a little bit difficult to see for some people or most people, but if you decide to do a regular foregrip, yes, it does improve your handling depending on which version that you use, but it also hinders the accuracy front a little bit, and which to me is a little bit oxymoronic, truth be told. But for me personally, the regular vertical foregrip is a good way to go. Now, in terms of the rail cover, if you want to improve that accuracy a little bit more, you can go with the ATPIAL laser sight, or once you find it, you can go with the laser or 3-dot sight, which gives you a big boost in accuracy without sacrificing a lot of handling, which is something I would definitely recommend. And as for the barrel, well, you only got one option, which is the standard barrel. And in terms of the muzzle, you can own the stock muzzle or the suppressor. So in conclusion, the UMP45 is a submachine gun that is great for taking out small groups. It is great for taking out small groups of enemy soldiers. And if you ever encounter a scenario or situation into where you see either vehicles or a helicopter that's trying to bombard you, the UMP45 does have plenty of stopping power. Just do keep in mind about its effective range and the controllability, because if you pin that trigger down for too long, buddy, you are going to have a little bit of some issues. So anyways, my friends, with that there of course being said, this of course will be the end of the very first episode of my Ghost Recon Wildlands Weapons review video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this, hey, give this a thumbs up and put down in the comments below. What do you think about the UMP45? Do you believe that it is a great submachine gun to use? Do you think it's not so good? Does not fit your personal preferences? Feel free to let me know. Oh, and one thing I don't want to forget to mention this to you guys, but the UMP45 is only given. It is only unlocked to those who has unlocked either the year 1 or year 2 pass of Ghost Recon Wildlands. But if you get either the gold or the deluxe edition, well then, my friend, you're gonna pick it up, no problem. So anyways, guys, with that of course being said, and I really do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys for my next review video. Bye!